cable. There we go. Okay, we're ready. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Board of Selectmen regular meeting on Wednesday, May 31st, 2017. And our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're standing, I would like to mention the passing of Ruth A. McCracken Patterson. Mrs. Patterson was a graduate of Old Dighton High School. She has 3 children: Donna, who lives in North Carolina, Donna Clancy; Kathy Horton of North Dighton; and Joanne Auckloin of Dighton. And I would request that a moment of silence for Mrs. Patterson. Thank you. Our sincere condolences to the family.
Yes. Okay. Next order of business is public input. Nothing from the public. Okay. We'd like to see somebody come down once in a while. Mr. Higgins is here, which is great, but I'd like to see other people come down and just visit with us a little bit. Our next order, old business, we have discuss the guidelines for public record law requests, and Sue Medeiros, our town clerk, is going to kind of brief us on what that's all about. We have a document here which outlines the guidelines.
Oh, okay.
Podium.
Oh, podium. I'm sorry. Okay. Gee, it's been a while. Okay, so what happened is at the beginning of the year, the state put in a pretty new law that said that public records requests would be done pretty much as they were done in the past, but there would be a record access officer would be appointed. The selectmen appointed myself, the town clerk, as in most town clerks in the Commonwealth are the RAO. There were some stipulations that went along with this. Couple being that you had to have posted who your RAO was, how she could be reached, whether by email, phone, certain, all that different type of ways, which was, we posted on the door, it's on our website. The second thing that we were required to do by July 1st is to produce guidelines. And those guidelines pretty much would tell the residents, or the public, they're not just residents, because anybody can make a public request. We've gotten many from the state, the attorneys, they come from insurance companies. It gives you the guidelines, which would include, how do you go about requesting this public request. So I put them together, sat with Brett, we kind of cleaned them up a little bit. Those have to be posted before July 1st on our website, and anywhere in the town hall where residents can see it at all times, which would probably use the bulletin board, that area out there. And then we also notify the state, these are our guidelines, and we are in accordance to what they want us to do, that we are up to date. So at this time, what I would need is for the selectmen to review them and, approve them. And once you approve them, then I will, send a copy off to the Secretary of State's office, Bill Galvin's office, and then we will be in compliance. Okay?
And it is sort of, some of the guidelines are procedural in terms of when a record has been requested. So if a resident has sent, for example, a request directly to a department, the guidelines specify that the department would then notify one of the RAOs, either Clerk Medeiros or Assistant Clerk Waller, that there has been a request. And so that's to synchronize that the request ends up getting fulfilled, and so that the RAOs can track the progress of the request.
Right.
And also a request can go directly to the RAO, who will then notify the department. So it's just getting everybody on the same page to make sure that requests are able to be fulfilled in a timely manner.
Well, there are deadlines. I mean, the town is required to submit the information, to request the information by certain, deadlines. And if you don't, the town could actually be fined. So,
What is that timeline? What is the?
well, what happens is, I would receive a request, I timestamp it in. It's not the day that the letter is dated, it's the day that I actually receive it in the office. Okay, I then have, within 5 days, I need to notify the person making the request that I have received it, and it has gone to, for example, the police department.
Yeah.
Okay, the police department, before 10 days, I need to get all this information together and forward it to the requester.
Within 10 days of the request?
Right, if it's one of those requests, that there are some that take a lot longer than 10 days to gather all the information, then I would notify, again, there's certain letters that kind of use for each situation, and then notify the requester that, we need extra time, and then if we need more time after that, then I have to go to the state and request the time. But the guidelines also tell you, the whole, like Brett said, the procedure. We receive it, this is what happens, it goes to the department, and then in the back, they wanted you to kind of give the public an idea of what the requests would be. Some of them, whether it be, our annual report, it would be a list of voters, anything to that effect. So we didn't list everything, but, the information that we felt that was, that most people would be requesting.
So there's a list in this directive of what kind of thing, just general list of the categories of public
Right, because there is
record.
some things that are not public record,
Right.
and
That's good.
that's why it's so important that when the departments receive because they won't always come to me. They will come sometimes to the different department head, or mail directly to the fire department, or so forth, or library, that it gets sent up to the town clerk's office immediately, because from the day you receive it, the clock is ticking, the days.
So I guess what we say to the public, if you are making a records request, make it to the town clerk's office.
Correct.
And so that we can expedite it and make sure everybody that's supposed to have the information has it, and we can expedite your request. I mean, because, yeah.
I just wanted to say, for the people watching, I just want to make, distinguish a little bit here. So this is a request for public records that we would ask that comes into the town clerk's office. For general inquiries related to a specific department, you can still feel free to contact that
That is
department
correct.
directly, absolutely.
This is more like when you have to do some research, I mean, they're asking for, the last 10 years of payroll records for town employees. I mean, I receive it, it'll probably go to Mary the treasurer and Jen the accountant, they gather it, comes back to myself, and I forward to them. So it's, exactly, Brett, if it's just an inquiry, you don't have to do a public request. It's more when you're requesting information, that type of thing. So,
I did just want to thank you. I know the law that sort of tightened up the public records passed back in January. And I know you worked hard really quickly to get the new form and everything online, and I think that was really helpful. So you've been very proactive on
oh,
this.
thanks. It's, it's just one of those things, you don't want to wait till the end, I mean, I was lucky to be able to bring in a representative from the state here, and pretty much all the department heads, the Board of Selectmen, a lot of the local town clerks and selectmen from other towns came to it. So, it's important, and it was new, and when it's new, you have a million questions, so. So that would
Thank you
be
for your
that.
work, Sue, appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So I guess,
One thing, Madam Clerk, so after, let's say we pass it,
Okay.
we would send probably like a memorandum to all the department heads so that they also know
Right.
what the protocol is for when they get a request for public records.
That would be great, that would be great, because, even though we touched on it back last fall, November, December, where it was when the state came down, it's, it would be a good thing, definitely a good
we
thing.
have our department head meeting next week, we'll also.
Can distribute it.
Perfect. It's been working really well. We were lucky to get a local resident that helped me put together a kind of like a program. A lot of the cities and towns went out and spent thousands of dollars on these programs, and we were really lucky to have somebody do it for us. And and it's really working, you
Great.
know?
Because it kind of like tracks.
It tracks everything. And
process, which is awesome.
It will actually tell me, when I input the request, it turns green, turns yellow. And then when it hits the 5 days, if I haven't if I haven't completed what I'm supposed to complete by the 5th day, it turns red. And then if I haven't done it by the 10th day, all turns red. And then at the end,
Computer
right,
knows it.
so when I close it out, yeah, when I close it out, it turns green. So it's a great program, and I mean, it's wonderful. And when I think of what some of the towns and cities, state, what they pay for these programs, and, you know, it works well. If I'm not mistaken, I think that, the superintendent's office, schools using the same program,
Great.
so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, take care.
Take it.
Bye.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the guidelines for the public records law request as submitted.
I second that.
Okay, the motion is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great, got that out of the way. Okay, we got a bunch of new business, a lot of. You guys- Yeah, the elevation certificate proposal from John Delano and Associates.
Voila.
This is an insurance, did you work on that? Yeah, why don't you talk about it?
We received a request from the insurance company that handles our flood insurance. The police station, the one down there on 138 right now, next to the tennis courts, is located in what has been described as the flood zone. Periodically, we have to keep up with whatever changes there are in the flood zone maps, and it was requested that we submit an elevation certification for 1551 Somerset Avenue. So we had to contact a surveying engineering firm, so we contacted John Delano and Associates, and they have submitted a proposal to prepare the elevation certification that has been requested. And, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the job estimate that has been submitted to us from John Delano and Associates. It's a total of $650 to do the field work and calculations for the preparation of a flood elevation certificate.
Seconded.
Okay, a motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'll sign that later. Okay, now next is a transfer from group health insurance account to the settlement account in the amount of $35,463. This is a transfer we need to make for a former employee settlement. And so I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we transfer from group health insurance, from the group health insurance account to the settlements account, the amount of $35,463.16.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can we just take 1 second to sign, just, these little things are
I'm
important.
going to do it afterwards. We have the next order of business is to transfer for payment on easement appraisals for the Center Street sidewalk project in the amount of $28,400. And this is the easements that we've had to take for the Center Street, putting a sidewalk over from the Aggie School up to the corner for safety purposes, so that pedestrians don't have to walk in the street or walk up in the grass. So
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the transfer of payments on the easement appraisals for the Center Street sidewalk project in the amount of $28,400. And do we have the paper there, so I know the accounts, please?
yeah.
And that transfer is from,
So that's
no, this is it, salary town administrator to professional and technical board of selectmen.
okay.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next one is transfer from the town administrator's secretary account to the Board of Selectmen secretary account, an overtime additional hour account in the amount of $5,155.90 total, and that's $4,380.90 from the secretary account and $775 from the overtime additional hours account.
What was the total again, 51?
$5,155.90. We're able to do that because Karen has been putting a lot of time to cover all the meetings we've had, and we don't have a secretary for the town administrator yet, obviously, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the transfer of $51,000, excuse me, $5,000, whoa, $5,155. Karen,
Karen's ready to walk out and buy a new car.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
let's start again. They approve the transfer from the town administrator secretary account to the Board of Selectmen secretary account, overtime and additional hours, in the total amount of $5,155.90, with the breakdown being from the town administrator account, $4,380.90, and from the, to the overtime additional hours, and the $775 from the town administrator account to the salary administrative assistant, additional hours overtime account.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
I did just want to clarify, this isn't just all, your description made it sound like all overtime. As I understand,
no.
some of this is because she's now 40 hours.
That's why I said additional
and
hours
it's-
overtime.
It's not, yeah, it's additional hours.
Just for
and
people at home.
Small amount of it is overtime.
The
Most of it's just-
50,000 is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's overtime.
we're gonna make her work 24 hours a day.
She just sleeps here.
Do we have Chief McGee?
Yep.
Okay. We have a resignation letter from our fire chief, our acting fire chief, Michael McGee. This letter is to inform you of my 1-month resignation. As of June 30th, 2017, I will no longer be the acting fire chief and deputy fire chief for the town of Dayton, Mass. I would like to thank you for the opportunity of serving as the acting fire chief. It has been my pleasure to serve the community of Dayton, Mass. in all my roles on the fire department over the last 24 years. This resignation is due to my family obligations and the relocation of my family. I will accept it with great regret. Chief McGee has done an excellent job filling in and stepping up to run the department in the absence of a permanent chief. So we wish you the best of luck, Chief McGee, and we'll miss you. So.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the resignation of Acting Fire Chief Michael McGee with thanks and appreciation.
And I second that with thanks and appreciation.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to, I think Brett and I were here, I'll call it, during the rough times. And I think, Mike, I speak for everybody when I say you stepped up, you walked into a difficult situation. There wasn't a skipped beat in the operation of the fire department or the services to the people of this town. You were already respected by the firefighters, call regulars. You brought them all together in a cohesive unit. There has been much more community involvement under your leadership. There is certainly pride in the department for what's been accomplished during the time that you have served. And I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude, and we certainly wish you well with future endeavors. We're going to miss you, Mike, there's no question about it, but thank you very much, and we understand family responsibilities, but you have done a great job for this town, and we all appreciate it.
I'll second that for sure. I mean, Mike, you've done a great job. I hear nothing but compliments about the job you've done. I know the morale in the department is very good right now, so you've done a tremendous job, a tremendous leadership, so.
Don't be a stranger. Come back.
Right. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a motion?
Yeah.
A second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, we have a request to transfer vacation time from from FY17 to FY18 by administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen.
Is this part of that 50,000?
Yeah, right.
There goes that 24-hour workday.
So we have from Karen Brady, our wonderful assistant. By this letter, I respectfully request to carry over 62 hours of vacation time from FY17 to FY18. Thank you for your consideration in this matter.
We're gonna have to think about this.
Yeah, right?
We're gonna need to
We're gonna do
recess.
this with regret. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the request of Ms. Brady, carry over 62 hours vacation time.
I second that.
And if we don't, we'll be without her for about the next 2 weeks.
62 hours.
Right. So, okay, I got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I want to really thank Karen, well, we're talking about Karen, for all the work and support she's been to this whole board, but in particular,
To this town.
being a new selectman here, it's a learning curve, and Karen has been wonderful.
She's been patient, too.
Yeah, patient, yeah. She's always smiles, too, even in those times when we're jamming to get
She's
stuff
gritting her
done.
teeth.
Yeah, so, good job. Thank you. Okay. We have a
Don't go too far on vacation, though.
we have a resignation letter. Do we have that? This is a resignation, rather, I, Sean Urban, do hereby resign from full-time employment with the Dayton Highway Department. This shall be effective immediately as of this date, May 31st, 2017.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the resignation of Sean Urban.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, announcements. First announcement is the warrant for the upcoming town meeting on June 5th has been mailed to all households in Dayton. So you should be getting this. It was mailed, I believe, yesterday. You will probably get it tomorrow or Friday. I would ask you to look at it, go through it, and we hope to see as many people as can make it to the special and then the regular town meeting on this coming Monday, June 5th. The special's at 6 o'clock, the regular is at 7 o'clock, and we'd love to see a good turnout. Again, I've said this many times, but this is our community and our town, and it's very important that people participate and look at what's being proposed, and if you have questions, I hope you'll come and ask those questions and be comfortable with what the town is doing, so.
And please bring your copy of the warrant.
Good point.
We have a few extras, but we're really hoping for a large turnout. This is our last-ditch effort to reach everybody in town, to get the information out and encourage you to please come to the town meeting.
And this effort, by the way, is actually less expensive than what we've done in the past by putting in the paper. And if you look at it, it's a little more legible also, so.
It's really nice, and
so.
I just want to thank my colleagues. I also wanted to thank Karen on a job well done. She noticed that the mailing timeline wasn't going to work, so I've never seen government work so fast before in my life. She got on the phone and expedited it, and so everything got done on time, and thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody watching at home who doesn't read the Gazette, where it used to be posted, appreciates it as well.
And it was so small you couldn't read it anyhow. But the
Mr.
other thing
Higgins?
is, folks, when you get this warrant, hopefully you'll come to town meeting. But if you don't, but you've got questions, please come to a selectmen's meeting and bring it with you and say, could you explain what this means? I don't really understand what that's about or what that money was for. So also use it, but again, feel free to come to the selectmen's meeting under public input and ask questions.
The only thing is there's not another Board of Selectmen's meeting before the town meeting, so they'll get it after. So if you have a question, you know our emails, you know how to reach us, so don't hesitate to call or email,
Yeah, or
and we'll
email
get
us.
back to you
We'll- right, absolutely.
before the meeting.
And if you do email us, put your number down so we can call you directly. And Mr. Higgins?
Are there any binding decisions that are to be made there, and if so, is there a quorum required for the turnout?
We don't have a quorum
We don't have a
requirement.
quorum.
It's something we probably should,
Some communities that have actually had to reduce their quorums because everyone is faced with the same situation. They can't get people to turn out. And, I mean, this is millions and millions of dollars of tax money. And you think, people would ask questions.
And we hope you come. It's really important. I think people need to get involved in town government, and if you do get involved, you can make a difference. I mean, you really can make a difference. And don't think you can't, because every vote counts, and every question that people might have about how we're spending the money gets us to reflect on how we're spending the money. And so it's very important. We need other perspectives on this whole thing, so.
I also want to say, just quickly, budgets are a reflection of our priorities as a community. So again, if you are new to this all and you had never gone to an annual town meeting before, I understand there's always a first time. So really, don't hesitate to give us a call, an email, ask us your question, because the worst thing that could happen is you show up at the town meeting and not really understanding what you're voting on. So really, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're happy to answer all questions.
And to go along with that, the Dayton Public Library is providing childcare during the annual town meeting from 7 to 10 p.m. There's a registration form that is available that you'll need to fill out. It's on the Dayton Library's webpage. It's also on their Facebook page. It's also will be available here in the Selectmen's office if you want to come in either tomorrow or Monday before the meeting. So that will give you, so there's no excuse if you have to take care of your children. There'll be childcare for them. So, thank you for that. Do we have any correspondence?
Yeah, no correspondence.
Okay, no correspondence? Let's go back to the announcements. I skipped over those. Okay, the other announcement we have is shorter list this time. Trash bags, sharps disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Call 508-669-6431 for more information. There are vacancies on the Historical Commission, Land Use Committee, and the Cemetery Commission, I believe, is full.
I think that's full.
Yeah, that's
we
full.
can take that one off.
Also, the Community Preservation Committee has an opening for Historical Commission representative, and also an opening for an at-large member. I was that at-large member until I became a selectman, so that's another very good committee that has a lot of impact on what goes on in town. The other thing I want people to know, 1% of your tax dollars, of your property tax dollar after $100,000 assessment goes into the CPC fund. So they have money down there, and it's really focused on three things: historical preservation, housing, and open space. So again, they meet about once a month, and if you want to volunteer for that, it's a great committee to be on.
You did just say, if you want to see the impact that they have on the town. If you do want to see the impact that, for example, the Community Preservation Committee has on the town, feel free to drive by the corner of Center and William Street. You'll see Winslow Davis House has been recently painted. I actually almost didn't recognize it. It looks
beautiful.
Fantastic. So that is an example of the impact that your voice can have on the town when you participate in your government.
And we are going to have the Community Preservation Committee come to one of our meetings in the near future to explain the process, how they make awards with the money that they have and stuff. So we'll be doing
The tennis court, basketball
Yeah.
courts that they,
by the police station.
yeah.
So done a lot of very good stuff in town. Dayton Fire Association will hosting a Touch a Truck event on Saturday, June 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the grounds of the Manheim, New England. Free admission to the event. Children can get up close and look and climb aboard many of the supersized vehicles. Dayton Fire Association will also be collecting donations for the Shriners Hospital for Children. On that same day, Manheim will also be hosting a blood drive on Saturday, June 3rd. A free pancake breakfast with a blood donation. Read. But
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
we go.
missed my cue. The annual town meeting will be held at Dayton Middle School on June 5th, 2017 at 7 p.m. A special town meeting will be held prior to the annual town meeting at 6 p.m. And don't forget, after the special town meeting concludes, please check out and then check back in for the annual town meeting at 7 p.m.
That's a requirement that we're required to do, so it's not like we just want to be annoying, but, so.
Tonight is the final weekly meeting of the Board of Selectmen for our summer schedule. There will be no meeting next week on June 7th, and every other week, we will have a meeting during the summer months. The normal meeting schedule will resume on September 6th, 2017. So just to recap, I believe that means our next meeting would be June 17th. The Community Preservation Committee will hold its annual public hearing on June 15th, 2017 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. This would also be a good time, if you're interested in joining this committee, to talk to some of the members of the committee to get a better feel for what exactly they do and what the mission of the committee is. Lastly, the Dayton Lions Club Food Bank distribution has new hours. Going forward, the hours will be from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. The next food bank distribution will be held on June 24th at Town Hall.
I think Brett might have misspoken. 14th.
It's the 14th, not the
The next
7th.
selectmen meeting will be June 14th, not 17th.
No, I said 14th.
No, you said 17th.
Did I? Oh, I'm sorry.
Not only
Don't show up on the 17th.
Not only will there be no public
That's a-
input, there'll be no other board members.
That's a Saturday too, so we're not.
We may not have a quorum then.
Also, just a reminder, also, the Cow Chip Festival is this coming weekend,
Ta-da.
Friday afternoon, all day Saturday and Sunday. And,
You want to go over the schedule?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so again, I think everybody knows, but the Dayton Lions put this on. Friday, they'll have the rides and vendors opening at 5. The Woodman Show is at 5 also, and if you haven't been to that, it's very entertaining. Saturday, rides and vendors open up at 12. The cow chip contest, where the cows come over from the Aggie School and do their thing on the grid. I'll be out there as a judge. That's at 2 o'clock. The chicken barbecue dinner is at 5. There's a live band at 7, and then the fireworks at 10. There's also going to be a dunk tank on Saturday, and Brett is going to be in there for a long, I volunteered to be in the dunk tank, so come on down. As long as you're willing to pay, I guess you can do whatever you want. So anyways, it's a fun time. Saturday's supposed to be the best day as far as weather-wise too, so I hope everybody can come down. Sunday, they have a tractor pull at noon. The rides and vendors open at noon, and then it closes up around 5 o'clock in the evening. So hope everybody can come down, pass the word. It's a fun event. It's a very unique event. So if you ask people from out of town if they heard of the cow chip event, they say you have to explain what it's about, so.
Oh, one shameless plug. The Green Communities Grant Committee will have a tent at the vendor show, and they will be handing out brochures and different informational materials pertaining to what the townspeople would be required to accept if the town were to pursue becoming a green community. So we will have information, we will be greeting folks, and we hope to see you all there.
And I'm working on something, I got my fingers crossed, but I got I'm on the email list for Cabot cheese. I think everybody knows Cabot cheddar, world-famous Cabot cheddar. And I think most people know that the milk from the Aggie School goes to the Cabot Creamery. They're one of the family farms, so to speak. And that's why the barn over there is painted in the plaid. Well, I got an email this week, and it was one of these update your profile things. And so I filled it out and I wrote back, and by the way, Bristol County Aggie School, located in Dayton, is one of the contributing farms. And the gentleman wrote back to me, because I invited him to the Cow Chip Festival.
Oh.
And he wrote back and said, unfortunately, he's going to be traveling. However, he put me in touch with somebody at the Aggie School, Ms. Blanchett, who's in charge of the small animal program. And if everything works out, he is sending samples of cheese, the little tiny piece, you know, the ones that are individually wrapped? And I said, if you're gonna send me those pieces of cheese, please send me coupons too. So I'm hoping that Friday afternoon, I can pick up the cheese and the coupons, and we'll give them out. If they arrive in time, we will give them out free
Great.
at the Cow Chip Festival, but that will be thanks to the Cabot Cheese Company and the involvement of the Aggie School.
Great.
So I've got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, so come on down.
It is good cheese.
I will be there to accept my
Good
Okay.
sample.
Nancy has several things to report on from a couple of meetings she went to, and we're gonna do those.
You want to do them now or later?
Well, go ahead and do them. We'd like to
Okay.
make them brief as we can, just to
Yep.
get the word across.
Actually, the report on water infrastructure funding and MMA Day on the Hill, those were actually a combined event. In the morning, we went to the Great Hall, actually the Hall of Flags, and yes, I did see the Dayton flag. Every time I go, I check to make sure it's still there, which is exactly what this banner is here. And we had a presentation from Mass Municipal, Mass Waterworks, engineers and surveyors, and it all dealt with funding for infrastructure for water. And there were several booths there that had samples of old corroded water pipes. There was another table that dealt with lead in water. There's a program to test all the water in the public schools for lead and other contaminants. And obviously, there was a lot of discussion about the amount of money needed to clean up, and I'm talking drinking water at this point in time, not wastewater, not stormwater, but it was focusing on actual potable water. And then so then after that, we were given info packages, and we went to see our senators and reps. I stopped by Senator Pacheco's office, but he was actually on the floor in the Senate that day because they were working on their budget. So none of the senators were in their offices, but I did leave some information. But I did go to Representative Pat Haddad's office and leave an information package for her, and it dealt with legislation that has been filed, and these various groups, MMA, Mass Waterworks, and the engineers, surveyors groups, a number of the bills that have been filed, they support. There were a couple they don't support. So there were individual printouts explaining why they either supported them or didn't, and asking the reps to please either support or not the bills that had been sent to them. The next day, at the Mass Municipal Office, was a meeting of the Mass Selectmen's Association. And it started out with a presentation by the Executive Director, Jeff Beckwith, and he talked about the current status of the FY18 budget. And the Senate was debating it the day before, and it still hadn't been resolved. But Jeff's feelings were that there will be three, among the House, the Senate, and the governor's budget, which will all be sent to a conference committee. They will come up with a budget, and hopefully we will know exactly what it is by the end of June, so that the state will start the fiscal year with the budget. All of the information that will be presented to you as far as requests for funding at the annual town meeting is based on the current information that the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen had, and that was the governor's budget and the House budget. They weren't that far apart, and they're expecting that the Senate budget will come in somewhere near that. So that was that. One of the big concerns was, though, the current budget year we're in right now, the estimates of income have fallen short up until the 1st of April. And then the first 2 weeks of April, the estimated receipts shot way up due to lottery sales and some of the money from the Racino up in off of Route 495. Plainfield, yeah, Plainfield. That was the first 2 weeks of April, but then the last 2 weeks of April had hardly anything. So the gain that was initially thought they were on a trend and it was going to continue, didn't. So there are still major concerns about getting through the end of the fiscal year we're in right now. They're not talking about cutting any money that they've already given or telling us we're not getting what we were entitled to, but it's going to be very difficult. The rest of that meeting was a presentation by the representative from Mass Department of Public Health talking about the legislation, the referendum, I should say, that was passed to have recreational marijuana in the state, which still hasn't become law because they're still working on it. And the other person who presented at that meeting was the chief of police from the town of Walpole. And I'll tell you, if you had been at that meeting, you would have come away with some very serious concerns. The chief had actually spent time in Colorado where recreational marijuana is legal. And he had samples of various products, and some of the real major concerns relate to, he passed around a plastic bag full of what looked like unwrapped Tootsie Pops. They contained marijuana or oil from marijuana. He had samples of the Rice Krispie bars that contained either the oil or the drug. I should say well, I guess it is a drug. It's a class, whatever the class is. And brownies and various other things. And it's really scary because you think about these are products that children will eat. And we've all heard the horror stories. But in any case, these were very, very good meetings, a lot of information, very good turnout at the Selectmen's meeting. The president this year is actually from Mount Washington, the third smallest community in the state. Their population is 400 people. And it was very interesting to hear from him. But anyhow, this will give you an idea of the kinds of topics that Mass Municipal Association deals with, and the kind of membership it has from the New York border all the way to the tip of the Cape. It's a very good meeting.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanted to add, Chairman Taylor and I had the pleasure to attend the Celebration of Excellence this evening. So I'm not sure if we have any acknowledgements, but I did just want to segue into that and just congratulate the class of 2017. I believe we will all be attending your graduation ceremony, and a special congratulations to the students who were awarded scholarships this evening. And the Board of Selectmen was there to present Mr. Tom Roach with his $500 scholarship as being a member of the championship-winning DR baseball team.
Oh, very good.
It was great. Nice, it was a nice ceremony, nice evening. Okay, anything else on acknowledgements?
Under acknowledgements, I would like to thank everybody in Dayton and Rehoboth that turned out for the Memorial Day Parade. We had a few raindrops, but we didn't really have any downpours. And I think we were all prepared with umbrellas and appropriate attire. It was very well attended. It was a very impressive program. Don Hershey, our veterans agent, was, I will say, master of ceremonies. And the DR band was there, and our police department was represented. There were vehicles from the National Guard, I believe.
Yep.
But all along the parade route, people were out there, people from Dayton and Rehoboth, and whole families, even the family dog, and all ages. And it was really nice. It was a great day.
It was a nice,
Very impressive.
it was a very nice parade. Now, most people, if you're going to a parade and there's a forecast for rain, you probably bring an umbrella. Our selectman, Mr. Zagrafis, failed to bring an umbrella. Luckily, Nancy came to the rescue and provided him with one, but yes.
Umbrella schmumbrella.
He's a PhD too, by the way.
I tried to look for it, I did.
Anyways,
I just wanted
kidding.
to, no, it's okay.
We have to take care of Mr. Dr. Z, as I call him. When we had to stuff the cruiser, it was bitterly cold. He was freezing. I had to get gloves for him. When we did an inspection in January, freezing cold day.
That was a rough one.
For all you mothers and fathers, you know the kid runs out the door in the morning in the winter with the coat wide open?
Totally me.
He's still a kid.
I have an app, you know, that weather app on the iPhone. I never once have I used it. It's permanently on the phone. I've never used it. One acknowledgement before we move on that I want to make is I really love to see former Selectman Patrick Menges at all of the Memorial Day parades. Patrick, I'm speaking to you directly. You always do such a good job on the Gettysburg Address. It always moves me every single year now, and I think it's really fantastic that you come and you still participate. Thank you so much, and I know it means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. I appreciate
And
you.
also for attending the Eagle Scout Court of Honor.
Always there.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we have minutes to approve. We do have warrants to approve, though.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 48A-17 in the amount of $77,765.22 payroll. Warrant 48B-17 in the amount of $57,663.20. And 48C-17 in the amount of $22,261.28, the last two being accounts payable, be approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. I just want to say one other thing. We're going on this summer schedule, so we're meeting every 2 weeks. It doesn't mean the selectman's office is closed. If you have a question, you want to call the office, one of us will be around someplace. Karen will call us or whatever, so we'll get back to you. So, and with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
See you at the Couch It Festival.
Thank you, Cable.